Hashanah Tova, and good morning. I'm Joel Critchever. A story retold by Rabbi Dov Peretz Elkins. An Israeli driver took his car into the shop to be repaired and said to the repairman, "My brakes don't work. Please fix the horn." If you've been to Israel, you understand Israeli drivers' preference for the horn over the brakes. But perhaps there is a hidden message in that remark. Like a faulty automobile, sometimes our behavior is missing the brakes, the discipline, the self-restraint that we need. Our horn, the shofar, sounds an alarm to remind us to take ourselves in for a checkup, to overhaul our values, lubricate our sensitivity, tune up our relationships, and steer straight our life's direction. And when our moral transmission is slipping and our self-discipline is weakened, the sound of the shofar reminds us to strengthen it and renew the moral courage to say yes when we should say yes, and no when we should say no. In Judaism, this is true freedom. But how is self-discipline essential for true free will? Engraved on the Liberty Bell from Leviticus chapter 25, quote, "Proclaim liberty throughout the land to all the inhabitants thereof. Do not wrong one another, but revere your God." This text actually refers to the 50-year Jubilee year freedom for indentured servants. But okay, freedom is freedom, and it depends on self-discipline. Remember, do not wrong one another. Bear with me. I came across the following letter. Dear people, I offer you a gift. I hope you will accept it. Linked with the gift is a burden. I hope you can handle it. My gift is freedom. It means that each of you can do just about anything, say anything, and use, build, or destroy anything within your grasp. But wait, I'm giving this gift to each of you, every woman, man, and child, every race, and every nation, everyone. You see the difficulty? If all of you are to be free, each of you will have to put limits on your own actions. Otherwise, you'll wind up with misery, crime, chaos, and tyranny. Everything you make will be broken. Every place you go will be dangerous. Only a few will be free, and they'll really be enslaved to their greed and their fear of everyone else. That's the burden linked with the gift, self-restraint. I'm asking a lot of you. You have to make freedom work. If unbridled greed is accepted as success, it isn't working. If the earth is poisoned and its resources depleted, it isn't working. If people are treated as sex objects, it isn't working. If racial and ethnic hatreds are countenanced, it isn't working. If people turn to drugs and alcohol, it isn't working. If people cheat because everyone cheats, it isn't working. And if it isn't working, the responsibility to fix it belongs to every one of you. Unless all of you use your freedom with restraint, everyone's liberty will weaken and die. No one can be free alone. This isn't going to be easy, but it will help if you remember that the world doesn't revolve around you. It will help you if you remember who gave you this gift. With love, God. Of course, this was neither written nor delivered by God, but if it were, would it change our world? In his 1997 book, God is a Verb, Rabbi David A. Cooper may his memory be for a blessing, writes, and I'm paraphrasing, throughout the ages, theologians and philosophers have debated whether or not human beings have the ability to choose freely. Free will imputes that God does not control the universe, at least in the sense that we understand control. If God is in control, then we are not free to choose. God always knows what we are going to do. God planned it that way. No, we are in control. We have free will. The Torah is built upon the foundation of free choice for humankind. The story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is a description of free choice. From that point of view, every biblical story involves free choice, from Cain and Abel to Noah to the Tower of Babel to the binding of Isaac to Jacob and Esau and Joseph's brothers. It's all free choice. We have the choice of how we will speak. A simple spoken truth can heal and release great beauty. A simple unkind word can set events in motion that can cause pain and great harm in the world. Further, free will and the social interaction process go hand in hand. If we are caught in this illusion of separateness and trapped in the sense that ourselves only matter, we cannot experience the process of our interaction with another being. We then lose the chance to together build a better world and be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson, in his 2001 book, The Bedside Torah, relates free will to religious observance. The question of whether Jews are strictly obligated by the traditional practices and values of our religion is an issue that has divided our people into separate camps. Some insist that the commandments come from God directly and are therefore binding for all time. Obedience is the cardinal Jewish virtue. Others are insistent that God's voice is at best unclear. Everyone must decide what is God's will for him or herself. Thus, autonomy is the guiding preeminent principle of Jewish faith. That's liberal Judaism. Of course, we cannot simply list our preferences and then call the emerging brew Judaism. Not just anything goes, but the very basis of Judaism is the recognition that we human beings have the power to make choices and be responsible for our own lives. The power to choose doesn't mean that every choice is equally wise or equally sacred. For example, we can choose to do nothing and let the homeless remain on the streets, or poor people go hungry, or we can choose to take action. God has given us the choice. May we choose wisely. Rabbi Joseph Telushkin, in his 1991 book, Jewish Literacy, takes the issue of free will in a different direction. He writes, since every human being is endowed with free will, even if a superior orders you to perform an evil act, Jewish law forbids you following the order. If you do carry out the order, you cannot then blame the person who issued it, for you should not have listened to it. Your free will must be restricted. At the trials of the Nazi war criminals held after World War II, the Nuremberg trials, most Nazis, including Adolf Eichmann, the mastermind of the final solution, offered the defense that they were only following orders. From the perspective of Jewish law, this was no defense. On October 29, 1956, the eve of Israel's Sinai campaign against Egypt, the Israeli government feared a fifth column of Arabs in Israel fighting for Egypt. They issued an order to Arabs living in Israel to remain inside their villages under curfew. At one Arab village, Kfar Qassem, some villagers went to work apparently unaware that a curfew had been imposed. Israeli troops encountered them opened fire and killed 49 unarmed villagers. At their court-martial, the soldiers defended themselves with the claim that they were just following military orders. The court rejected this defense, and 8 of the soldiers were convicted of murder. They should have known, the judges ruled, that it was immoral and forbidden to open fire on unarmed civilians. No order from a superior officer could justify what they had done. Quite simply, according to Jewish law, if one is given an immoral order, one is obligated not to carry it out. When our self-restraint has failed us this past year, Judaism offers us the means to overhaul the vehicle. We are here today to begin the process over the next 10 days, or however many days it may take, for each one of us to examine ourselves and find where we have failed to steer straight. Thus, we have free will and hopefully brakes in good working order for the discipline and self-restraint we need. And there's always the horn, too. With love, God has given us the gift of free will and each other to help us make the right choices. Rabbi Rami Shapiro writes, "We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love, embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will."